Hello and willkommen to this edition of DURKO's Notebook for the 2026 Austrian Grand Prix. Interesting weekend, great racing, lot to talk about. Pull up a pew, sit back, relax and enjoy the show. You wouldn't fucking read about it. As the F1 circus returns to the Red Bull Ring, it's certainly a place that is witness to great racing, even though it is one of the shortest circuits on the calendar. And at the foothill of the Styrian Mountains, it's a challenge because there is some uphill climbs into some challenging corners and then fast ones which can just throw you right off, as Max Verstappen found out. That's the first point I want to talk about is, I believe, the controversial decision regarding Max going off. Now, Max went off of his own accord. There's no blame there. He's not laying any blame at Red Bull for their car. It's just an incident that was a tag slapper for him and he couldn't get out of it. Now, obviously, the marshals on the side of the track have pushed the yellow button to say, right, we've got a single yellow flag. And that's allowed, obviously, Russell and Antonelli to get through. Now, the question is, why was it not a double yellow when Max has gone off at such a high-speed corner and it could have been a danger to him if then another car, including Russell, had gone off and slammed into the side of Max? I think it should have been a double yellow. I think I'm going to say something here that probably not a lot of people are going to disagree with, but I think as a result of that decision and the delay in getting the double yellow, that Russell was handed the pole position over Leclerc. And I think the stewards are at fault for not making the double yellow quick enough. When it was obvious Max had a big off, even though he wasn't injured, it was still a high-speed crash, and it should have been double yellow, as I said. That leading into that, did that decision in Russell getting the pole then eventually hand him the win? And would it have been a different set of circumstances if Leclerc had obviously claimed the pole, but then the Ferrari upgrades didn't work for them as they'd planned and had hoped for, as they had stated prior to the race? So interesting what's come out of that, and I don't agree with what happened with Russell getting the pole. That's all I'm going to say on that. You may disagree. Love to hear your argument for or against it. So overall, it was great racing from the get-go. Now, this is what F1 and FOM and FIA everyone wanted to get out of these upgrades, this new spec with the 50-50 hybrid between the ICE and the electrics. And it certainly turned up in Austria, and it worked out that way for them because it was great racing through turn 3, turn 6, turn 9. Everyone was swapping places into each other, undercutting, overtaking in corners you don't normally overtake, which was Antonelli was doing. And he showed the power of the Merc as he just chewed up drivers. But my son sent me a text message this morning saying, "Dad, what do you think of the drone?" I thought, well, I was a bit in two minds about it. It was a bit scary at first watching the ride go round, but I think obviously drone technology is up and coming. It's not going to go away. Now, Autosport put a thing up saying they're petitioning for the drone to be at every race. I don't know if it's going to work at every race, but it certainly works there at the Red Bull Ring. I'm sure we're going to see it again, but I think overall great racing was had by all, except for Cadillac. Obviously, they've got brake issues, but it's amazing Cadillac have come forward and beaten Aston Martin in qualifying, which goes to show how shit the Aston Martin racing team are looking. And it's just Lawrence Stroll's got egg on his face. He's got to start asking some big questions. Where are we going wrong to be behind a effectively new team? Now, another stupid decision by the stewards was obviously Oscar Piastri got picked up for being too slow in his recon laps. And he and a team rep went up to face the stewards and face the music, and they came and turned up with all their data and said, hang on, here's the car going at this speed, here's the onboards, here's all our telemetry stuff. He was within the delta that he needed to be for the recon lap, so that got thrown out. So I think the stewards need to have a good hard look at themselves and say, are we clutching at straws here, calling drivers up for penalties if we can't justify ourselves? Because the teams are turning up and putting the FIA back in their place, back in their box, to say, no, go home, you've got it wrong. Yeah, that's it. Overall, great race. Love the circuit. I'd love to see the Red Bull Ring stay on the calendar for many years to come. I think it's great. Doesn't matter how big or small the cars are. it's a great, challenging, tight little circuit, and that's what F1's about, is racing on circuits like that, delivering what we were witness to in that race. So that's it. I'll be back next week with the British Grand Prix. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to be the dominant one there. Is Antonelli going to come back? Is Russell going to maintain his pace? Because I think, going back to it, there was a comment during during quali when Tato got on the air and said, George, you just need to drive the car. So that was a wake-up call to George, because he was at the threat of falling out of quali, and Tato got on the horn and said, mate, pull your finger out and start driving. So maybe Tato's comment to him over the air publicly has awoken the beast within George. We'll have to see what happens when he turns up at Silverstone. Yeah, it'll be good to watch. All right, until next week, thanks for watching. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.